Welcome to a Steeler Thoughts and Chief Feelings film review. I'm Ajay, and this review will be looking at the Week 7 matchup between the Chiefs and 49ers in San Francisco. The Chiefs ended up winning this game 28-18. Thanks to all of you that have been watching these film reviews. I know our Week 5 Chiefs-Saints film review got a lot of traction. We appreciate all of you that spent so much time watching the review. Hope you stick with us and enjoy what we're doing here. We also have clips of our reviews on social media. The handle is at STCF715, and that's available on same handle on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. On Twitter, we also post during Chiefs and Steelers games and right after the games, especially kind of discussing how the games went and important plays from the games. We also have a video podcast on this same channel, the Steeler Thoughts Chief Feelings channel, where Chris and I will discuss the games of the week and any kind of general Chiefs-Steelers news or NFL news in general. We also have that podcast in audio form available anywhere that you download podcasts. And clips from the podcast we share on our social media. Again, that's at STCF715, same handle on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. But let's get into this film review. There are lots of plays to look at, and we are going to start here with a play, the first play, the second possession for the 49ers. It's the third drive of the game, and the score at this point is 0-0. 49ers have the ball, and they are just inside the Chiefs' 45-yard line. So let's see what they're up to here. They end up starting in 12 personnel. So they've got one running back, and, well, really, Juszczyk here is a fullback, so you can call this 21 personnel. He's kind of a fullback tight end hybrid. So whether you want to call this 21 personnel with two running backs and one tight end, or 12 personnel if you want to consider Juszczyk a tight end, it's kind of immaterial. And we've got two wide receivers. We've got Deebo Samuel in the slot, and we got Brandon Ayuk back here out wide. The Chiefs, matching up with this kind of heavier personnel, are they look like they're in a nickel look here. They've got 5 defensive backs and only two linebackers. So they're actually in nickel here against a little bit of a heavier formation. They're not in their base. And the 49ers kind of run one of their staples. They're running play action to the left, boot to the right. And in this situation, they generally have everything kind of flowing to the right. So Deebo Samuel is going to come here and run an out. Ayuk is going to run deep. They're going to have Juszczyk come across the formation and try to engage the unblocked end Karlaftis and then come out to the flat. And the big money route here is Kittle kind of run through all this traffic and run a deep over. And so the idea is to get everybody flowing, the linebackers coming up, and get Kittle through all this mess and hopefully uncovered as he comes across the field. The Chiefs play a cover one man look, so they've got Justin Reid out as the deep safety. Nick Bolton looks to be playing the robber, and it looks like Chanel ends up taking the tight end over here, and we're manned up, and then manned up on Kittle underneath. So let's see how this plays out. So here you go. Here's the fake run action, and you can see what they wanted, right? We've got flow, creating a nice underneath gap for their over route. The Chiefs are in man, playing everybody pretty tightly. And here you see Kittle coming out, and he does manage to get a step coming across the field. From Purdy's perspective, he mainly just has to contend with, by design, Karlaftis is unblocked over here. Juszczyk comes and tries to get a piece of him right there, but Karlaftis actually does a good job, kind of nimbly getting around him before Juszczyk can come across the formation and lay a good block on him. Karlaftis kind of gets around and does a good job of making Purdy at least have to speed up his mental clock a little bit. As Purdy rears back, the big key on this play is Justin Reid, the deep safety. This is play recognition, right? Justin Reid has studied his film. He sees what's happening. He knows this play, And you can tell based on how fast he keys and drives on this route. He knows what the 49ers are going to do. He understands their tendencies. He drives on this route. Purdy is back. He's throwing it here. Look at Reid. Reid has made up his mind. He's going. He steps right in front of Kittle and makes an interception. I mean, that's just reading the play all the way. This is, an IQ interception. This is a film study interception. This is a smart player understanding what teams like to do, understanding what this play is from the way his keys and the way the routes are developing, stepping right in front, making an aggressive play, and getting an interception. It reminds me a lot of how Nick Bolton wins, right? These are the kinds of players that Steve Spagnuolo prioritizes. He's got these smart players that read the defense, know where to be, and this is how they make their plays. It's not like Justin Reid's out there high pointing the ball over people in the deep third of the field. What he is doing is play recognition, being in the right place at the right time, and that's what helps make this defense so incredibly difficult to beat. Now we can see this again from the end zone view. And you can see how nicely, the 49ers try to play with things. So here's Juszczyk. Juszczyk is going to come across the formation. And remember, they're leaving Karlaftis unblocked. So his goal is to make this hard. Karlaftis, from their perspective, the ideal would be that he loses contain and flows over here. The next best thing is that Juszczyk is able to at least get in his way long enough so that as Purdy comes around in his boot, Karlaftis can't make life too difficult for him. We're going to get flow, and then here's our deep safety right here. So as we watch, it's Chamari Connor over here that ends up being responsible for Kittle, and you've got Brian Cook over the top of Juszczyk. But as Juszczyk flows over, the Chiefs do a good job of passing this off, and it looks like it's Drew Tranquill that ends up following Juszczyk across the formation and taking him as his responsibility. So this is another kind of, the Chiefs are prepared. This is a man defense, but they're prepared in this scenario. Cook sees him go across the formation, and they're able to pass these responsibilities off pretty well. As Tranquill kind of follows over here, then Cook ends up being more of just kind of a middle of the field player. Over here, then, the route we're interested in, well, there are a couple things that I want to point out. First is Karlaftis' discipline. So Karlaftis doesn't flow all the way over. He maintains his contain, and as Juszczyk is coming here trying to lay a nice block on him, Karlaftis actually does a good job sneaking by it, and he's able to kind of cause Purdy a little distress. Now on this side, so Juszczyk goes across. Here's the route they were trying to free up. They're trying to get Kittle through all this mess and then get him ahead of Chamari Connor, which they kind of succeed in. Like, here's Kittle. He's got a step. This is definitely NFL open. This play is there, except you got to account for the safety, especially when the safety is screaming in front of the play. And this is just great play recognition. I don't think Purdy ever thought that Reid would key in this quickly on the play, and he gets a big interception for the Chiefs. We're going to pick the game up here with 10:36 to go in the second quarter. At this point, the Chiefs are up 7-3, and the 49ers are going to punt. They have 4th and 2 on about their 36, 37-yard line. All right, so as you know, when we're showing a special teams play, something exciting happened. The Chiefs, they rush 6, and they have 4 to block for Hardman on the return. Not their best rush on this, but I think the first thing to see is what the 49ers are attempting to do on this punt return. So watch these guys over here, and watch how they're releasing off their blockers. Well, these guys are going left, right? They're intentionally coming off of their blockers toward the left side. If you can see, look at all of these guys as they come off. they're initially blocking for the punter, and then when they release, they're going over to their left. And if you see where Hardman is standing, the punt was kind of directionally kicked over toward the left side of the field. So they're trying to, I would imagine he probably wanted to put this ball a little more over here, but the idea is they're trying to get the return to the left side of the field. They're sending most of their people down on the left side. They've got the right gunner who's also coming in. And then they release two people, the two from the very rightmost part that are coming down over the right. And one would imagine that the job of these two is for contain, right? So the idea is to kind of pin him into this area and to kind of allow your coverage to come down and contain him. The reason why I point out these two is if everybody's over on the left, this means the 49ers left, somebody's got to make sure that he doesn't break out toward the 49ers right or to his left, right? Because then you get away from all of the punt coverage. Unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. So I again, you'd be better off, for the details, I'd have to defer to an expert here, but it's not atypical to see like gunners just go straight for the returner. I'm not sure how much gunners are asked to do any like actual contain. Obviously, nobody wants to have the returner run by them, but the gunners are kind of going after the returner, and unfortunately for the Niners, this gunner falls down. So we're already missing one guy that's more on this side of the field. You really just have three people, right? You have the gunner, and you have these two contain guys. Everybody else over on the left, and you do get some people kind of coming over to try to help like fill the gaps so there's not like a massive hole up in the middle. However, our two contain guys, one of them, this guy here, ends up falling down. So we had the gunner fall down and the contain guy on that side of the field fall down. And so Hardman catches the ball here. This is what we're looking at, right? Here are your 49ers. This is here, here, here. A lot of people on this side of the field. This gunner has fallen down, and here's the other gunner, right? So you really have two people at this point who have any chance of containing this, because if he gets out, this is going to be a major problem. None of these guys are going to be able to do anything. The whole point is to try to get him to return the ball into what you got. Well, like we said, one contain guy falls down, and let's look at this guy. Now that Hardman has caught the ball, if this is me in this position, and I'm the outside guy here, and look at where Hardman starts running. He's not even like disguising this. He's running straight over here. If I'm the contain guy right here, my thought is like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. I'm stopping my feet and trying to do everything I can to force him back into my teammates, right? But our fella here just keeps coming at this angle. Like, he's already beating your angle. Look at the angle that Hardman's taking. Why you wouldn't flatten this out and start coming a little more straight, or do anything except like bring yourself inside of where he's trying to go when you have no contain. I'm not sure. These several steps right here that are taken by this man, I don't know what he's trying to do here. I don't understand the thought process. He's essentially just giving Hardman a roll outside. And look how far, he doesn't think about changing direction until now, and he ends up slipping to make matters worse. So if you're counting at home, all three people that were over on the right side eventually at some point in this return fell down. But he waits way too long to make this decision that, maybe I should change direction, and he falls down to boot. And Hardman just sneaks right outside contain. And look, I love Mecole Hardman. I am not going to pretend that Mecole Hardman is the most creative punt returner. Generally, Mecole Hardman, being someone who throughout his life has been one of the fastest, if not the fastest person on the field most of the time, is just looking to get outside. That's usually what he's trying to do. He's not really great at navigating traffic up the field. Not that that's easy to do anyway. It's not like many punt returners are. But Hardman is trying to get outside. We see it all the time. Like, a lot of his returns are him, like, bowling around and then ending up getting, like, 5 or 6 yards. I mean, why then your strategy would be to do this, I don't know. So this is the player that I can't explain his actions, what he's trying to do here. Unless he's trying to let McCall Hardman have a big return. Anyway, Hardman breaks contain, and he's so fast that these angles just don't exist, right? The angles that these guys are trying to stop him to the sideline is too fast for that. Fortunately for the 49ers, their punter saw what was happening and got over to the sideline, and so was able to get in the way enough to disrupt this return and get him to cut inside to help. But what the punter did here, which is what you get outside of the guy trying to go outside, get him to cut back into where you have help on the inside, that is what I would have expected out of this fellow. Stay outside of where he's trying to go. Your help is here. The more you make him hesitate, the more your help is going to have time to come and help you make a tackle. What you don't want to do is this, where you get out leveraged, he gets around you, and there's nobody to stop him until he's gained 55 yards down the field and completely flipped the field for the Chiefs. All right, so now let's see this from the end zone view, and we can see some of the things we were talking about before. So first thing, what did we say? Clearly the plan seems to be that you directionally kick this over to the left, because the first thing we want to watch is look at what the blockers are all doing here. So these are our two guys that we said were our contained guys. Look at everybody else. They are making a concerted effort to come off of their people toward the left and make it down that side of the field. Look at all these guys flying left, 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 right? And, I mean, you can even see the way that the punter is looking. He's trying to directionally kick this over to the left. My guess is he probably didn't get it as far to the left as he wanted to. Judging by how hard everyone's selling to the left, I'm guessing they were hoping that the ball would land somewhere like that. This is my guess. I don't know. And then here are our contained guys. Here's the gunner that we were talking about. How much the gunner is supposed to contain, I don't know. I mean, I would imagine you definitely don't want this to happen, which is him losing any sense of contain and then spectacularly falling down in the middle of the field. I'm guessing that wasn't part of the plan. Over here, these two certainly must have had contain responsibilities. And you got one, he ends up, that's bad luck, honestly. These two are kind of close together, and so the two Chiefs players end up sandwiching him, and he falls down. But this looks like 48. 48 over here has got to be, you're the guy, man. You're the guy that's going to stop Hardman from getting out wide. Why at this point, he catches the ball here. Look at what Hardman's doing. Is it at all surprising to you that a guy coming like this might try to go like that? Especially, like I said, as anybody that's watched Hardman return punts knows what he tries to do. Why he continues to come on this trajectory is the mystifying part to me. And when he realizes he's made a mistake, it's way too late, and he slips and falls. And then look, it's just green grass. There goes Hardman. And see what the punter does? Kind of makes a sad attempt at a tackle, but that's what we expect out of our kickers and punters. But he doesn't let him go outside, and then he ultimately gets him to cut back inside, and that's where your help is. And that's how tackles get made in these situations. Anyway, big punt return for the Chiefs, setting them up. They're already up 7-3. Now they got the ball in great field position. So now we're just a couple plays after that punt return. The Chiefs have run 2 plays and gained 5 yards, and so they now have a 3rd and 5 at the 49ers' 25-yard line. There's 9:42 to go in the second quarter. At this point, Chiefs are up 7-3. So let's see how the Chiefs are lined up here. They've got 2 tight ends on the field with 1 running back. So the 1 running back, 2 tight ends gets you 12 personnel. And they've got 2 wide receivers. They have Justin Watson up top, and they got Xavier Worthy down here. Okay, so at the beginning, what the Chiefs are going to try to do here. First, they're going to motion Kelce over, and the Niners look like they're playing man. They appear to be in a nickel formation. I think these 2 are the only linebackers on the field. I think that we've got 5 defensive backs. And so what the Chiefs do, they're going to send Justin Watson out on a corner route. Kelce's going to come and run an out. Then over here, we've got Samaje Perine comes up and tries to go out. Noah Gray is essentially clearing out. And Worthy is coming in and running a pretty deep whip route. This was an interesting route because a lot of times when you see a whip route, you'll see someone kind of come in and out like this. But he kind of takes it all the way over like he's running a drag and then comes out. The 49ers appear to be in cover 1 man. They essentially use their robber to double team Kelce. So if you see, they've got this guy and this guy kind of inside outsiding Kelce. Trying to get him no matter where he ends up going. Watson is running his corner. Noah Gray is clear out. I think I drew a post. He runs more of like a dig here. Coming in. And if you look at Mahomes, here he is hitting the back of his drop. He's looking for Kelce, right? That's who he wants. It's a 3rd down, big play, but Kelce is doubled. So as he hits the back of his drop, he's not finding Kelce. He's feeling pressure from Trey Smith's spot. Trey Smith's tackles starting to win. Mahomes bails out of the pocket. He's then able to get the other defensive tackle who kind of swings around. And he's able to climb up the pocket, and he notices Worthy now coming on his whip route. And remember, we said Worthy's whip route takes a little bit of time because he's coming all the way in and then coming out. It's not one of those like quick. So here he hits his whip route, and you can see the defender, I think his name is Lenore, ready to run with Worthy. Worthy puts his foot in the ground and turns. Mahomes sees him, and before he crosses the line of scrimmage, he ends up just flipping like a shovel over to Worthy and ends up getting the 1st down. I mean, this is a very nifty play. Very nice ad-libbing in the moment to just get the ball out there. Worthy already catches it beyond the sticks. This is the 1st down is here. Worthy's already a yard past the 1st down. It's a nice completion. Just a kind of ho-hum play that Mahomes makes that's actually quite difficult to execute. First, navigating all the traffic in the pocket, and then second, having the ability to hit that accurately, that kind of quick shovel. Really great play from Mahomes. And now we can see it even better from the end zone view. So you can see they motion Kelce over. You can see this is where Mahomes is looking, right? Mahomes is looking over toward Kelce. Not open, looks ahead. What do you see? See defensive tackle getting in. That's worrisome. He does a nice job kind of sidestepping, allowing Creed to make that block. And look how quickly he gets this flip off. Like he's processing so quickly. Boom, sidestep, boop, makes the flip. 1st down. It's really a great play. Great play from Patrick Mahomes. And you can see it in real time how quickly it's just like step, sidestep, flip. Great play, keeps the chains moving. Big play for the Chiefs to convert a 3rd down there. Moving forward, we're on the same drive here, and we are now under 7 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter, and the Chiefs have 1st and goal at the 49ers 6. The Chiefs here are in 12 personnel. They've got 1 running back, that's Kareem Hunt. Their 2 tight ends are Noah Gray and Travis Kelce. And their two wide receivers are Sky Moore and Justin Watson. They come out in a shotgun look, and it looks like the 49ers have responded to this formation with the nickel. They have two linebackers here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive backs. So they're playing a little bit of a lighter formation, which is something that teams do frequently against the Chiefs. We saw the Bengals do it a ton this year. They're basically daring the Chiefs to run the ball, and the Chiefs are not really in a formation that looks like they may run the ball, even though they have two tight ends. Well, you probably guessed it. The Chiefs end up running the ball. So Noah Gray goes in motion comes and gets set tight, and the Chiefs run a misdirection action with a zone read action on it. So they don't block the end, Nick Bosa, with their tackle. The tackle blocks in, helps double team the defensive tackle with the left guard, Joe Thuney. So we've got a one-on-one block here. Trey Smith takes the tackle. Juwan Taylor takes the end. We've got a double team on the tackle here. Thuney and Wanya Morris. And Creed immediately gets to the second level. Now, the misdirection, Kareem Hunt starts in this motion, and they do a zone read action to try to freeze Nick Bosa, right? So this action, Mahomes is going to feign that he could be running with this ball. So just to stop Nick Bosa for a second, and then they have Noah Gray coming across the formation to seal him off. So there comes Noah Gray across to block him. Now, Thuney and Wanya are double teaming this tackle here. And watch Thuney be able to come off this double team and then get to Fred Warner on the next level. So he does a great job of maintaining, moving out the tackle with Wanya, then coming off and sealing off Fred Warner as well. On this side, we said we've got the one-on-one block here, one-on-one block here. Creed ends up having the safety and the linebacker come in, and he chooses to come over and block the safety, but his body ends up remaining between the linebacker and Hunt. And this is where we talked about on the podcast today. Actually, I was talking to Chris earlier today, and one of the things I said is Kareem Hunt, compared to all the Chiefs running backs that have been on the team since Kareem Hunt was first cut in 2018, nobody has been able to kind of slither through gaps like Kareem Hunt can. And this is a great example of it here. Reid is blocking the safety. This linebacker is still, he's between, Creed is between him and Hunt, but this linebacker has the ability to, kind of squeeze around and come fill this gap. But look at Hunt kind of slither through. He gets kind of an arm tackle from the linebacker, but is able to fight through that, dragging the linebacker with him, and drags him all the way into the end zone. But I just love, there are no wasted steps here, If you watch him, he just gets where he's got to go, and he's so good at being shifty about it, Here he is. It's not like there's a ton of room in here. He sidesteps quickly, boom, boom, 1, 2, and then he's just really trying to push, and get himself into the end zone. I mean, that kind of talent of, making the most, getting through the gaps, making the most out of every run is so important. He's not just getting the basics that are blocked up there. He's really maximizing everything that can be gotten from the run. And I really think that the biggest part of that is right here as he sets his feet and, he just kind of slithers sideways. No wasted steps. Just look. 1, 2, hop through, push into the end zone. That's great work. Shout out to Travis Kelce, who comes across and he occupies Charvarius Ward, and then also is able to block the last safety trying to come across to make sure he doesn't interfere with Hunt's ability to get into the end zone. We'll see it here from this angle, and so let's kind of restate what we were saying. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a double team here and here. They're going to leave Bosa. Creed's going to come up to the second level. He ultimately has to choose between these two, and he ends up blocking him. Trey Smith is going to block here. Juwan Taylor is going to block here. Noah Gray comes across the formation to seal off Bosa. So let's watch this in action. Again, there's a little misdirection / zone read, and that is for him to kind of make him think twice about where everything's going, get him to slow down. Then Gray comes across to make a block and seal him off. But look at this action here, which is the most interesting part of this to me. Creed comes up and he's able to block 27, but also he maintains his body between 53 and Hunt. And look at what Hunt, we were talking about Hunt's steps, right? He's getting in here. Look at 1, 2, and then look how he moves himself diagonally. And just that ability to kind of get past. I feel like a lot of running backs would come here and just plow right into 53, and this is a 2-yard gain. But Hunt, he's able to come at this angle right here where he just gets through his arm, and he's so strong. He's able to drag that arm tackle and get a 6-yard run into the end zone. And finally, shout out to Travis. He's occupying Charvarius Ward and then comes over and makes a block on Malik Mustafa too. But really great run by Kareem Hunt. This ended up putting the Chiefs up 14-3 in the second quarter. Now have 4:57 to go in the second quarter, and the 49ers have 2nd and 8 at around their 44-yard line. They've set up here. They appear to be in 12 personnel. We've got 1 running back, 2 tight ends, and then they've got their 2 wide receivers. And the Chiefs have matched this. Actually, they're staying light again. They're staying in their nickel. They've got 2 linebackers. Oh, you know what? Yeah, they've got 2 linebackers. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive backs. So what the 49ers are going to try to do here is they're going to try to run a play action, but it's a little involved play action. They're going to try to make it look like a counter play with 2 pullers. So they're going to have the running back motion like he's going to get the handoff going this way, and they're going to pull their guard and then pull the tight end. So to a linebacker, it kind of looks like they're running counter. They're coming and then going that way. So they're really kind of dressing up their offensive line motion as well, not just faking a handoff, but just dressing up their offensive line motion to make it look like a run play. Well, one of the downsides to that is they kind of block down, and the point of the pulling guard and tight end in the blocking scheme is going to be to get the end who's unblocked. That's George Karlaftis. Meanwhile, they end up sending the receivers on deep routes. I assume maybe would have leaked the tight end. You'll see in a moment why we won't get to know whether that was going to happen. And then Kittle was going to block and then try to come out for a route. And the running back 2 at the end was going to try to come out for a route, leak late. But let's kind of watch this in action. All right, so here's the motion we're talking about. So when you're kind of reading your keys, this kind of looks like a run play, right? Here comes a handoff. You see the pullers, so that makes you think that the actual run action might go that way. Teams very rarely pull linemen when it comes to passing plays. Really, the only time they do it is if they're trying to create like a real shot play, so they have to give the quarterback a lot of time, or if they're trying to simulate a run. So here they come, and Karlaftis, I think, ends up being a bit quicker than the the guard is expecting. First of all, the guard and the tight end don't do a great job of having great spacing. But the guard the way he's coming across, he's got zero chance of getting Karlaftis, right? There's no chance. He's not quick enough. And someone on Twitter, when I posted this clip, praising Karlaftis for his ability to get around, I believe the response was their legs didn't get tangled at all. And, the Twitter user's right. The lineman and tackle or tight end do tangle their legs there, but I don't know. I mean, it is honestly pretty funny to watch. It's almost like one of those old-timey slapstick comedy movies where, you've got the two bad guys and they trip over each other and fall down while they're trying to attack the hero. But I think the reason why this happens, honestly, is that the guard just gets beat. Like, he's got no chance, and he ultimately, dives just to try to do something, and he ends up impeding the tackle's ability to help out in the block either. I don't know why they kind of ran so close together. If the tackle just gets a little more width, or I keep calling him a tackle, if the tight end gets a little more width, maybe he's able to help out, and maybe he doesn't trip over the guard. But they end up going down in a heap. I still credit Karlaftis a lot for being nimble and quick enough to get around them, which is what I think prompted them to get tangled. And Karlaftis comes around, circles back, and is able to grab Purdy for the sack. Really good play from George Karlaftis. He's not really known for being that bendy and able to get around the corner, and he's definitely stiffer than a lot of the bendiest edge rushers, but he has really improved in that regard, and he is able to get around the edge in crucial moments. He's shown it time and time again. Gets a big sack here and forces a 3rd and long. So here we can see it from this side. And again, remember, if you're the 49ers are trying to make this look like a run. So here, pull. Here, pull. The running back action is going to be this way, and so you think he's running counter and coming up that way. Here are the two pullers. They, like we said, they're very close together, which ultimately ends up being their undoing. Karlaftis sees it and ends up changing his course a little bit to come see how he comes far, north and south down the field instead of coming down the line of scrimmage, and he ends up outrunning them to the corner. And, they don't really have a chance to block him, whether their feet got tangled. I mean, even if their feet hadn't got tangled, I just don't know that this is going to work out. This is really funny to watch them just kind of trip over each other. But Karlaftis does a great job of stopping on a dime, getting back around, retracing his steps, getting Purdy for the sack. It was a big sack, and ultimately led to a 3rd and long, which led to a punt. All right, well, I shouldn't have said that 3rd and long led to a punt, because we're about to review that 3rd and long now. So we're right after the Karlaftis sack, and the 49ers now have 3rd and 11 to try to move the sticks here. And they've been coming out in 12 personnel a lot. This one's actually 11 personnel. They've got 1 running back, 1 tight end, and they've got 3 wide receivers. And what they end up trying to do here, they have Ayuk running a deeper slant. Kittle goes up the seam. Ricky Pearsall runs an out. Conley gets vertical. And Juszczyk comes out to the flat. The Chiefs, Spagnuolo starts to have some fun with the protections. And so let's see what he's got lined up here as we start. So now in this situation, the left tackle's got to account for Chris Jones. The guard has to account for Chenal. Center is here with Wharton. Bolton is with the guard. Justin Reid is here. So really, they're thinking there could be more coming than could be blocked, especially if Juszczyk isn't going to be part of pass protection. So you're probably, if everybody's coming, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and if you're not having any help from pass protection, basically the line's letting one of these people free. And that's usually going to be the outside guy, right? So you're thinking the tackle is probably thinking to come in to Reid and let Karlaftis go by. So let's see what the Chiefs end up doing. Well, as usual, they don't end up rushing everyone they have mugging up. So once they've got the commitment, so remember, we're saying you for him, 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 right? And likely Karlaftis is free here. So knowing that with the protections, I mean, we'll get to that point later. I was going to think about it from Purdy's perspective, but let's start with the Lions' perspective. And so what did the Chiefs actually do? Well, Chenal bails, Wharton bails. So that means the people that these two, the center and the guard, were going to account for are no longer there. So the center comes over to help with the right guard's guy, Nick Bolton. The right guard then comes over to help with, he can help with the left tackle's guy, Justin Reid. But the left tackle, from his perspective, he was blocking Justin Reid, remember? In the initial alignment, Justin Reid was the responsibility of the right tackle, and we were thinking Karlaftis is going to go. Well, he doesn't have to do that anymore, but tackle wasn't privy to the fact that these two dropped. So from his perspective, from the protection rules, he's blocking Justin Reid. So he still lets Karlaftis go free. Now, the added wrinkle is that Trent McDuffie also ends up blitzing from this side. One thing about Kyle Shanahan's condensed formations, condensed means that you've got these guys closer to the tackle instead of, let's say, the bunch being out here, out wide. The benefit for the defense when you have a condensed formation like this is that the defender is closer to the quarterback than he would be if he was out here guarding you. So it makes it easier to have people blitz. When you have guys in the quote-unquote slot, the slot defender has an easier time blitzing because he has less ground to cover. So McDuffie ends up coming too, and the poor tackle who thinks his responsibility is Justin Reid, because that's what it was based on when you look at the pre-snap alignment, he ends up letting both McDuffie and Karlaftis go free. So both of them end up going free. McDuffie ends up coming and getting in Purdy's face, and Purdy is forced to release the ball quickly. Now, what we were talking about from Purdy's perspective. So at this point, right, when the line is deciding that they're going to let Karlaftis free, Purdy at this point knows he's got to go hot with the route, right? If you're going to have a free rusher, you've got to go hot. You have to have somebody you can get the ball out of your hands immediately. So he's got a couple options. Pearsall's running an out, and they have off coverage. Juszczyk is coming out to the flat, and he's got Turk Wharton. He's a little more aggressive with his hot read. He looks for Ayuk, who is open, but that takes a little bit longer. You got to hold that ball a little bit longer in order to get that. And I think that holding the ball a little bit longer let McDuffie influence his throw, and he's just not able to make an accurate throw with that kind of pressure. The ball sails. It's an incomplete pass on 3rd and 11. I would posit that if he, dumped this off right now, it's possible. Juszczyk's an athletic guy. Maybe Najee Johnson falls off and makes the tackle, but at least you're trying to make him make a tackle in space. Unfortunately, he was unable to get that slant over to Ayuk. Throws it over his head. It ends up being an incomplete pass. So let's go over the protection rules one more time just to make it clear. So Reid is kind of mugged up to the line. So remember, as an offensive line, you got to account for everybody. So Trent Williams, the guards, got Chenal. That's you. That's you. That's you. We're going to let him come free because you always the general rule of thumb is you let outside guys go free. You don't want someone with a shorter path to the quarterback to go free, so let the person with the longer path to the quarterback go free. But then the added wrinkle from Spags is that McDuffie, so this is the thing about those condensed formations, see how he's still in close. He blitzes 2, and the right tackle, he's blocking who he's supposed to block. This is who I'm supposed to block for my rules. But these guys are gone. So the centers actually, in theory, they could have done this, but you can't make that change on the fly. I mean, I would imagine you'd have to be an incredibly smart and cohesive line to be able to do something like that. So he stays, and McDuffie and Karlaftis go free. If you can see Juszczyk coming out here, I really feel like if he hits the outright route Purdy, he might be able to complete that pass. But in order to get Ayuk to get open on the slant, he's got to wait just to beat. And you wonder if Bolton influenced the throw a little bit, made him throw it a little higher than he would have. He ultimately, actually, really, it looked like he sailed it from the other vantage point, but he actually just led him too far. It's not actually that high of a throw. He just led him too far. Not able to make an accurate throw with that pressure. It's an incomplete pass, and the 49ers are forced to punt. Another fun Spags blitz. All right, so this is the first play of the second half. The Chiefs went into halftime up 14-6 and started the third quarter with the ball. They had 1st and 10 just inside the 30 at about the 29-yard line. And they come out again in 12 personnel. So you've got the one running back, Kareem Hunt, and your 2 tight ends are Noah Gray and Travis Kelce. The 2 wide receivers are Justin Watson and Xavier Worthy. The 49ers look like they come out again in their nickel formation. They've got 2 linebackers and they've got 5 defensive backs. The 49ers essentially play a cover 2, although they appear to allow Charvarius Ward to run with Justin Watson. He's kind of manned up, and what would have been his flat cloud responsibility is taken by this linebacker, so there is a little bit more opening in the middle of the field. What the Chiefs do with their route combination, starting on the right side here, they have Justin Watson run a corner pattern. And I think the main purpose of that is to occupy this safety. They have Worthy running a post down the middle of the field, and behind him comes Travis Kelce on a deep over. So really you've got Worthy occupying this safety on a post. Watson coming on a corner pattern that this safety will want to top. And then you've got Kelce coming over on the deep over. So as this comes to pass, you can see here comes Worthy. He's with one safety. The other safety's on top of Justin Watson, and here comes Kelce on his over. He actually comes wide open. So this play does a great job getting Kelce open. But what Mahomes sees is the safety did not get enough depth and is not going to be able to run with Worthy. And the other piece of this is this safety notices Kelce coming underneath, and that's the attention that Kelce can draw. He decides to come check that out rather than worry about what's going on with Worthy and trying to stay on top of that route. So Worthy ends up coming wide open. And this could have been a 71-yard touchdown right here. But Mahomes just didn't quite get enough air under it, and believe it or not, he overthrew a man that runs a 4.21 40. This would have been a huge play. Like I said, 71-yard touchdown right there. If only Mahomes had just been able to get a little more air under this throw. But it was a very nice play design. Worthy came open, Kelce came open. You can see it here from the initial view. It looks like he just cranks up and goes, and he just can't quite get it all here on the end zone cam here. But you can see Worthy coming across the middle. This is where Kelce comes out from underneath Warner, and he comes open here. So Kelce was an option on this play too. But I love Mahomes taking the deep shot. He's just got to get a little more air under that ball so that Worthy can run underneath it. He won't have to be as precise. It looks like he overthrew him by about 2 to 3 yards or so. So just got to dial that back a little bit. Excited to see the connection that these two can develop, because if Worthy can get open like that, Mahomes will start finding them. They're going to have some really fun plays. So now we're at 9:43 to go in the third quarter. The Chiefs are now only up 14-12. So after that missed bomb to Worthy that we showed you, Mahomes ended up throwing an interception because unfortunately Xavier Worthy fell on his route on a third down play. And the 49ers capitalized by scoring a touchdown, and they missed the extra point. So it ended up being 14-12 at that point. Chiefs got the ball back and quickly found themselves in 3rd and 10. So here is the play they ended up running on 3rd and 10. So right here, they are set up in, is that Noah Gray up top? I'm trying to figure out whether that does look like Noah Gray. So this is 12 personnel, 1 running back, and then their 2 tight ends are 1, 2 right here. 2 wide receivers are Xavier Worthy and Justin Watson. So the play they end up trying to run here against the Niners, who the Niners appear to be in just looks like a cover 3 actually. Yeah, the Niners run a cover 3 here. And the Chiefs run, they've got Worthy coming on a drag route. They've got Watson kind of taking it deep, and he actually ends up pivoting out. And Noah Gray kind of takes an intermediate dig. And then they have Kelce, and Kelce ends up putting a move on Charvarius Ward and trying to get deep. So we can see this develop. And you can see Mahomes kind of starting in the middle of the field. He actually does get Worthy open on the drag, but you remember this is a first down marker. I mean, Worthy's fast, so it's possible he could catch this and go. Fred Warner is also really fast, so it would be interesting to have seen where that play could have gotten him. But ultimately, he waits on Kelce, makes his move. And Tom Brady, his one critique with Mahomes on this play was he thought Mahomes hesitated a little bit too long. He thought he should have pulled the trigger here because his feeling was that he had Charvarius Ward beat and Ward wouldn't have been able to close the gap had the throw come in a little bit earlier when Kelce had a little more separation. I don't mind that critique, but I think it's missing a pretty big thing, which is that this should be an illegal contact penalty on Charvarius Ward. I mean, Kelce beats him right here. Charvarius Ward grabs his hip right there and slows him down. Look at him stumble. That's why Charvarius Ward got back into this play. He's well beyond 5 yards. I mean, when you get beat, you can't just impede the route of the receiver and slow him down so you can catch up. I'm surprised that A, it wasn't called, and B, that Tom Brady just neglected that part of his analysis. The major reason why Ward caught up was that he committed a penalty that wasn't called right there. I mean, this one to me isn't really even that controversial. Kelce comes through, Ward grabs him around the hip. You look at how much Kelce stumbles as he's trying to get through this route. And he's not able to make that. I mean, it's well beyond 5 yards. That should have been an illegal contact penalty and an automatic first down. I'm curious. Let's see how mad Kelce was about it after. I mean, he does look like he kind of looks at the referee, but props to him for not complaining too much. And you can see it from this view. I think what Brady wanted was, I think he wanted well, that first one seemed to be like a pump more to the outside. But I think right here, he wanted him to pull the trigger that right here, this little beat earlier. but immaterial because, as we go back here, just to show you one more time, just watch right down here. You can see it fast right there, and then see it slower. This is illegal contact. This should have been a penalty. Instead, it was a failed third down, and the Chiefs punted. At 6:02 to go in the third quarter, and we've got another big third down. This is 3rd and 6 at about the 35-yard line of Kansas City. San Francisco's down 14-12. And the 49ers end up experiencing another Steve Spagnuolo blitz. So if you look, they've got 3, 4, 5, 6 people up on the line. So they do have numbers to, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the running back gives you 6. So they do have numbers to protect all these guys. But again, it ends up being a simulated pressure. Spagnuolo drops FAU and Justin Reid. Bolton kind of acts like he's going to drop and then ends up coming. And then again, McDuffie blitzes off the edge. The 49ers do a great job picking it up. The running back does a great job picking up the blitz here. So Purdy actually has time to throw. And if we look at his route combination, he's got coming down the field. He is running an out. Our underneath receiver, Pearsall, is coming in and running a curl, and Kittle is trying to get upfield. And so what we really want to watch here is the out route over here. So Purdy, they end up blocking it up well, but Purdy's clock is sped up just a little bit. He moves off his spot slightly. You wonder if some of those previous blitzes impacted him a little bit. And if you watch the time when he's about to throw the ball, here he's got his receiver making his break. And what it looks like happens is Purdy is anticipating him to kind of break in this direction, and he ends up breaking in this direction. So you can see him kind of break it flat. Well, Purdy's already thrown the ball. If you look at where Purdy is about to release the ball here, he still hasn't made his break. So this is an anticipation throw. Purdy is already, the ball's out of his hand right now. So it sounds like he thought it was going to come like this. Instead, it came like this. And the ball comes back, and it's one of the easiest interceptions a defensive back can make. Now, I would say that this makes it seem like this isn't like a choice route. Like maybe this is just a route that you have to run based on how it's drawn up on paper, which makes sense because a lot of the Niners receivers are injured. So they, you're not having guys that have a ton of rapport with the quarterback. But if this were a choice route, like something that the receiver could make based on the coverage, I mean, Roland-Wallace is all over on top. His leverage is such that it actually makes way more sense to throw a ball down this way. So what the receiver did kind of makes sense based on the coverage, but I'm guessing they just have a route drawn up on paper for him. And Purdy thought that's what he was going to do, was to go more up the field. Instead, he ended up throwing it right to Roland-Wallace, who got his first career interception. Ended up being a really big play because the Chiefs, again, only up 14-12. So any points here could have taken the lead for the 49ers. But as you can see, he just threw it right to Roland-Wallace because of the miscommunication. Chiefs get the ball back. Deeper into the third quarter now, the Chiefs have 2nd and 7 at around the 37-yard line of the 49ers. They're still up 14-12. And we're getting toward the end of the third quarter now. And for this play, the Chiefs come out, and they are in 11 personnel. They just have the one running back and the one tight end. And it looks like the 49ers are in nickel personnel. And the Chiefs end up running a route combination. So They get Worthy outside, and the Niners are here playing man. It looks like they're playing cover one man. And so they've got Sky Moore comes in and out on a whip route. Kelsey runs an out. Xavier Worthy runs a deep over. And McCole Hardman runs a dig behind it. Kareem Hunt kind of leaks out and acts as a safety valve. So Mahomes takes a snap and is looking at his options here. But pretty soon after he hits the back of his drop, he's got Nick Bosa screaming around the edge as he's managed to corner around Wanye. So he has to step up. But Wanye, to his credit, does a good job of kind of pushing him around the arc and not letting him get to Mahomes at his spot. I mean, I know it's a tense situation for the quarterback, but Wanye actually does his job on this play. He gets Bosa around, but in addition to Juwan Taylor getting pushed back, Mahomes has kind of lost his faith in the integrity of the pocket, and reading his route combination, he notices all the routes are going this way, and the Niners are in man. So all the defenders will be following their routes in this direction. So Mahomes bails out to the left, and he really only has to contend with Fred Warner. And basically it's just the linebackers he has to contend with, but it's mainly Fred Warner. And Mahomes, I mean, this should not be minimized. Fred Warner is possibly the most athletic linebacker in the league. He's the best linebacker in the league, and he's extremely fast for a linebacker. And Mahomes is able to just shake him off. You know, the best linebacker in the league just steps right through his tackle, gets around him. And I think a lot is made of this moment, and I think it's somewhat lazy analysis. Like, look at what happens here. Kareem Hunt shoves the linebacker right here. The linebacker, he gets pushed, and as he's pursuing, he ends up over-pursuing toward the sideline. Mahomes steps inside and runs down the sideline. I don't really understand this whole discussion about, like, faking going out of bounds. Like, Mahomes is here tiptoeing down the sideline. He avoids the linebacker and continues going down the sideline. I think a whole lot is being made. To me, it's honestly just lazy analysis. Like, and it's like pointed analysis, right? It's like you want there to be a narrative, and so you try to fit the narrative. I mean, look at the play. He's flowing. Mahomes is coming down the sideline. He allows the linebacker to run right by him, and he continues down the sideline. I don't see anything. I mean, you have to be trying really hard to construe any of this as like faking running out of bounds. He stops because there's a giant man that is coming right in front of him. He lets him go by, and he keeps going. Additionally, why this is annoying to me is at this point, the quarterback doesn't get any additional protection, right? He's a runner. So, like, this is no different than if a running back or a wide receiver had been running down the sideline. They're not treated any differently when they're a runner. So, like, you have to remove all these thoughts you have about how quarterbacks are treated in the pocket or anything. He's running down the sideline. He doesn't get any added protection. There's nothing about being a quarterback that influences this play. He's just a runner with the ball. And if you hit a runner when they're out of bounds, it's going to be a penalty. But I don't think there's any point where he even fakes going out of bounds. He's just avoiding a defender and running down the sideline. And he does kind of allow Kareem Hunt, too, to set up this block right here, which I think is also quite impressive. Kareem Hunt really requires a lot of praise for this run, having shoved the first guy and then sealed a block on the sideline, and Mahomes gets down the field. But to me, the most impressive part of it is the beginning from Mahomes' perspective, that he's able to get out of a Fred Warner tackle and then give Hunt credit for the shove that helped propel this linebacker to the sideline, and then that seal block on the other side. Big play from Mahomes. I mean, he always just comes up with the key plays when you need them. This was a situation where the offense had been struggling for several drives, 3 drives in a row with no points. They were only up by 2, and Mahomes makes a great play here to get them into scoring position. Again, watch. He's looking. It looks like he's looking at Kelce to start. He doesn't love the pocket. It's kind of breaking down. He goes to the left because everyone's running right. Gets out of the Fred Warner tackle. Here you can see. Now, one thing he clearly does do is he fakes to throw the ball, which is hilarious to me that people fall for that when he's well beyond the line of scrimmage. But look at this here. He's not ever faking going out of bounds. I mean, he's coming to cut this back and he's getting out of the way. Like, he doesn't ever act like he's ducking out of bounds. He doesn't ever even, like, he's coming to the sideline. He's stopping, chopping his feet, stopping in bounds, and waiting for the guy to get past him. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that's a whole lot of lazy narrative without actually watching the play. It's just a man making a play down the sideline. I don't see anything about faking going out of bounds. In any case, another amazing play from Patrick Mahomes. Later on the same drive, and now we are early in the fourth quarter, and the Chiefs have 4th and goal at the 1-yard line. So, they had started with 1st and goal at around the 4, and they were only able to get it to the 1-yard line. They got 4th and goal, and they end up spreading things out. They do have 1 running back, 2 tight ends, so that's 12 personnel. And then they have Xavier Worthy and Justin Watson as the 2 wide receivers. So what they end up trying to do here, they've got Worthy running an over route. They really have Gray and Watson try to set up a pick for Kareem Hunt, who's coming out into the flat. But Fred Warner has Hunt, and Fred Warner is just too good. He ends up getting around. So what they're trying to do is get these 2 defenders in the path of Fred Warner so he can't get around and Hunt can get an easy pass into the end zone. But Warner gets over the top of that. And to be honest with you, Mahomes doesn't even look in that direction. He's trying to look at Kelce, who I think is going to run a fade. But as you'll see when we run this, Kelce gets held. So Mahomes drops back. He's kind of looking over to his left. Here is part of the hold on Kelce. The flag was actually thrown on this play, but it was declined. But yeah, Kelce is held here. But Mahomes, even as he hits the back of his drop, sees the seize part, and I think he doesn't even wait for anybody else to try to get open. Like, he had taken one look over, he saw the gap, and he's like, I'm going. And he cuts right up, and what will be a very famous play going forward, just completely trucks Malik Mustafa. And I mean, it's even more impressive because Malik Mustafa had been like the enforcer in this game. He had laid a couple really big hits. One I remember in particular on Xavier Worthy that led him to miss a couple plays. But so it's quite something to see Mahomes just bowl him over with a truck right there and score a touchdown. It's a big play for the Chiefs. Like we said earlier, they were only up 14-12. This touchdown got them up 21-12. Really opened up some breathing room for them. But as you can see here, he just hits the back of his drop, decides to go. He sees the opening, goes in for the touchdown. We actually didn't pay attention to what happened on the right side, so we can just show you so here's the pick play I was talking about. They're trying to pick and let him go. And the idea is to get these defenders in the way so Fred Warner can't get to the sideline in time. But if you watch Warner, I mean, he's right on top of Hunt. He does a great job. But like I said, Mahomes isn't even looking there. He just took, he's looking. At this point, he's already made his decision to go. Plants his leg, goes, touchdown. We can see it from the end zone view. Drops back, he's looking left to Kelce, and then immediately he sees the opening, doesn't think twice, he's in. And look at that truck. Big play for the Chiefs, they go up 20. For our final play of this week's Chiefs film review, we're now at 9:34 to go in the game. The Chiefs are up 21-12, and the 49ers are faced with a 3rd and goal from just outside the 5-yard line. The Niners come out in 11 personnel with 1 running back and 1 tight end. They've got 3 wide receivers. Conley ends up coming up and sitting here at the goal line. They end up getting 10, kind of coming in a more of an over route over the middle. Kittle ends up coming up, and Pearsall also. The spacing wasn't great between Kittle and Pearsall on this route. And what the Chiefs ended up doing, so for Kittle, they had Tranquil and Cook just kind of inside-outside double team him. And they did the same thing for Conley. They had McDuffie outside, Jaden Hicks inside. They had Pearsall one-on-one with Joshua Williams, and number 10 was one-on-one with Chris Roland-Wallace over the middle. Bolton ended up taking the running back. So you can see the combination develop here. So here's your inside-outside on Chris Conley. These two are waiting on Kittle to go inside-outside with him. You imagine Pearsall probably should have gotten more width. So like no one really challenged the boundary on this side at all. But they're kind of set up here. And I'm not really sure what Purdy was thinking here. Because Brock Purdy at this point, this is when he's about to pull the trigger. He sees Conley like pushing here. I wonder if he thought that Jaden Hicks was going to drop off and help on the over route. Because as you can see, 10 is like coming across the field like this. So that's the only thing that makes sense to me as far as what Purdy is thinking right here. Because he's looking right here and decides to pull the trigger and throw it to Conley. An added piece of this that's important to note is Karlaftis, when he's coming in against the right tackle, then like spins this inside and ends up getting some pretty good pressure on Purdy. So I don't think Purdy was able to put the ball where he wanted to. But in any case, this is a very tight window throw. I think he definitely misses this throw. He wasn't trying to throw it at this spot. I think he was trying to throw it right there. But it's a tight window throw. Karlaftis hitting him moved the ball a little bit. So he ends up missing the throw, and he throws it right to Jaden Hicks. But, it's a doubled guy. You would think that if you're going to, try something, you might try, a single covered guy, right, to fit something in. But in any case, Karlaftis really deserves a lot of credit here for this play, as his spin in made this an inaccurate throw and threw it right to Jaden Hicks for the rookie's first interception of his career. And now here, if we see from the end zone view, you can see Hicks is inside responsibility on the double team, but you can see Karlaftis coming in, spinning inside and getting pressure on Purdy and making that throw come well inside of where he wanted it to go. Not that it would have been an easy throw even if he had been able to put it on target. And Jaden Hicks ends up with the interception. The Chiefs would ultimately come down and score a touchdown and open it up to 28-12. It was a great clock-chewing drive that ultimately put the game out of reach. Well, that is it for the Week 7 STCF film review of the Chiefs at 49ers. Appreciate all of you that watched. We will be putting out a film review of the Jets at Steelers game later this week, probably a day after this one comes out. And then we will be back on social media at STCF715. On TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Please follow along. This week's podcast is already up on YouTube, Week 7 recap, and it should be up on your podcasting app soon, so please follow along there. Otherwise, we will talk to you after, we'll be talking to you throughout on social media, but then after the Week 8 games, the Chiefs play at the Raiders, and the Steelers will have the Monday night game hosting the Giants. So after those games, we will have a podcast and do some film reviews, and continue engaging on social media. Thanks for all of you that have been watching, listening, following along, and engaging with us. We really appreciate it. Until next time.